Colorado is famous for its breathtaking mountains, ski resorts, and old Wild West towns. But behind the beauty and adventure, the state has a darker side. With a past full of mining accidents, gunfights, tragedies, and unsolved mysteries, Colorado has more than its fair share of haunted locations. Here are some of the most haunted places in Colorado. Number 1. The Molly Brown House in Denver looks warm and elegant from the outside, but many visitors say it holds quiet, lingering energy from the Brown family and those who worked there. Margaret Molly Brown lived a bold life and survived the Titanic, so it's no surprise people believe her strong spirit still watches over the rooms she once loved. One common story is the smell of a tobacco pipe drifting through hallways even though the museum does not allow smoking. People think it might be J.J. Brown, Molly's husband, keeping an old habit in spirit form. Another frequent report is a sudden, sweet rose perfume that appears and fades with no clear source. Some believe it's a friendly woman's presence, possibly Molly herself, letting visitors know she is near. An older tale goes back to Molly's own mother, who once said she saw a dead servant climbing the staircase. That image, simple but chilling, has stayed in local lore and still makes people glance twice at the stairs during tours. There are also stories about the blinds in the second-floor bedrooms moving on their own, especially in the room of Molly's daughter, Helen. Guests have said they watched the shades lift and fall as if unseen hands were testing them. Together, these gentle but eerie moments build a picture of why the Molly Brown house is called haunted. It isn't about loud scares. It's about traces of real lives, love, work, and daily habits still echoing in the halls. Number 2. The Central City Masonic Cemetery sits on a windy hill above this old mining town, and many locals say the past still walks there. The graves date back to the 1860s gold rush, when life was rough and many people died young. Visitors talk about a quiet, heavy feeling as soon as they pass the gate, like the place is watching. That mood, plus years of strange reports, is why people believe the cemetery is truly haunted. The most famous tale is the Lady in Black. Twice a year, on April 5th and November 1st, a woman in a black Victorian dress is said to visit the grave of John Edward Cameron and leave flowers before fading away. Some call her the Columbine Lady, and witnesses say she vanishes the moment anyone gets too close. Cameron's burial in the Masonic section is documented, which keeps this legend alive. Another unsettling story tells of a green mist that rises near a woman's grave some say belonged to a suspected witch. The mist hangs low over the earth and then slides away, leaving the air cold and still. A few people even claim the ground rises with life before the fog clears. There are also reports of a small boy who peeks from behind trees and monuments, keeping just out of reach. He seems curious, never cruel, watching, and then disappearing the moment someone speaks to him. Hikers and ghost hunters have shared the same description again and again. Number 3. The Patterson Inn, once known as the Croke-Patterson Campbell Mansion, stands proudly on Capitol Hill with its grand sandstone facade, but its beauty belies a restless spirit beneath. The mansion was built in 1890, and its first owner, Thomas Croke, left the house after spending few days inside. His sudden decision to abandon it started rumors that the place was cursed or filled with something unsettling. In the basement, some guests have claimed to hear the sounds of a mother and child crying in the dark. According to that account, a baby had died in the home and the mother buried the child in the basement, and now the two are forever heard lamenting together. Then there's the spectral guardian, Kate Patterson, wife of Senator Thomas Patterson. She has appeared many times, especially to guests in distress. One pregnant woman staying in the apartment days of the house spoke of a softly glowing figure helping her position herself in bed, introducing herself as Kate before vanishing. Another haunting involves 2 guard dogs, thought to be Dobermans, who reportedly leapt from a third-floor window to their deaths. Despite no dogs living on the property now, guests sometimes hear barking echoing through the halls, as if those loyal canines never truly left. In some particular rooms, a few guests claim they've felt nudges in bed from unseen presences, or even seen a figure at the foot of the bed in the quiet of night. It's as if the mansion's occupants continue to live there in spirit. Number 4. The Hotel Jerome, built in the late 1880s, stands elegantly in Aspen as a cherished landmark. Yet beneath its polished charm, many believe the past hasn't entirely checked out. With its history as a community hub, wartime boarding house, and even makeshift morgue during the flu epidemic, the hotel carries more than legacy, it carries lingering presences. One of the eeriest stories involves a young boy, known forever as the Water Boy. In 1936, a 10-year-old staying in room 310 tragically drowned in the hotel's pool. Guests and staff report seeing him wet and shivering, wrapped in a towel, wandering the third floor or standing in hallways before vanishing, his only trace a set of wet footprints. Another lingering presence is that of Henry O'Callister, a silver prospector who fell in love with a guest, Clarissa Wellington, only to lose her to her father's disapproval. Broke and heartbroken, Henry died in Aspen, and now, guests say they've heard him sobbing late at night and have spotted a sorrowful figure roaming the halls. There's also the story of Katie Kerrigan, a young chambermaid whose beauty made some of her coworkers jealous. One day, they played a cruel trick on her, telling her that her kitten had fallen through the ice of a frozen pond. Rushing to save it, Katie went out onto the ice, fell in, and later died from pneumonia. Even now, staff say her spirit lingers in the building. Sometimes beds are mysteriously found already turned down, as if Katie is still doing her old job. Number 5. Cheeseman Park, now a quiet green space in Denver, was once Mount Prospect Cemetery, where thousands of people had been buried. In the late 1800s and early 1900s, the cemetery was cleared to make room for the park, but the work was done in a careless and disturbing way. Many bodies were placed into child-sized coffins to save money, have left a lingering unease about what lies hidden beneath. One of the earliest haunting tales tells of a gravedigger named Jim Astor, who reportedly felt a ghostly presence land on his shoulders while digging. After that, he vanished from the job, spooked by what he believed he'd encountered. Local residents have long shared stories of hearing moans and whispering voices drifting upward from the park's open fields, especially near spots where graves were never fully cleared. Some even say that on moonlit nights, you can glimpse the outlines of old headstones or see misty shadows drifting where the earth was never properly filled. Even modern stories show how eerie the park feels. In the late 1960s, writer Russell Hunter lived near Cheeseman Park and had strange, unsettling experiences there. Those moments later inspired him to create the horror film The Changeling. He said the feeling of something supernatural was so strong, it could be sensed even in the middle of the day. From its grand atrium to its honey-harvested rooftop, the Brown Palace Hotel has welcomed guests since 1892. But its elegance comes with whispers and footsteps that never quite fade away. Many believe that long after death, some residents simply never checked out. One famous story is about room 904, where Denver socialite Louise Crawford Hill once stayed. After her death, guides began telling her story during hotel tours. The front desk suddenly started receiving phone calls from her old room, though no phone lines existed. Calls were met only with static, and when guides ceased mentioning her story, the calls stopped. It seemed Louise didn't appreciate her history being retold. In the fancy Ellington's dining room, which used to be called the San Marco Room, a staff member once walked in late at night and saw a string quartet playing music. They were dressed in old-fashioned clothes and played softly. When the staff member asked why they were there, one of the musicians smiled and said, "Don't worry about us. We live here." Moments later, they disappeared. Down in the boiler room, eerie cries of a baby echo through the pipes and shadows. No child or source is ever found, just that persistent, heart-grabbing sob or wail that fades into the hum of machinery. At the old rail ticket office, people have seen the ghost of a train conductor in uniform. He walks through the building and then disappears into a wall, as if he is still doing his job even after all these years. Cripple Creek, once a roaring gold mining boomtown, now wears its history like a veil, and some say that veil still holds spirits. One of the most chilling stories belongs to Lily, a friendly little ghost at Buffalo Billy's Casino. Visitors and staff see a 6-year-old girl holding a rag doll on the staircase. She appears, speaks calmly, and then vanishes. Sometimes people also spot purple balloons drifting mysteriously through the casino, believed to be her playful way of saying hello. In the Outlaws and Lawmen Jail Museum, which was once the Teller County Jail, people report hearing footsteps echoing in the empty halls and heavy cell doors slamming shut on their own. Rosie, a former female jailer, is said to still watch over the place, and shadow figures have been spotted lingering inside the cells. At the Midland Terminal Depot, a historic train station, visitors describe hearing doors opening, footsteps pacing upstairs, and even the sight of a young girl in a polka-dot dress who slips in and out of sight. Her presence adds an eerie chill. The Colorado Grande Casino and Hotel is haunted by Maggie, a young Irish woman dressed in Victorian clothes. Guests smell rose perfume where no one is present, hear high heels clicking across empty floors, and sometimes glimpse her sitting quietly at old slot machines. The Highlands Ranch Mansion, once a humble stone farmhouse in 1891, grew into a grand English Tudor estate and now stands as a beautifully restored community landmark. Despite its elegant looks, staff and visitors have long whispered of strange happenings that suggest more than just history lives within its walls. One of the most persistent stories is of Julia Kistler, the Kistler family's 11-year-old daughter, who died in 1937. Many have reported seeing her ghost roam the upstairs hallway, peer out a bedroom window, or vanish in the corridor, her gentle presence lingering in the rooms she once inhabited. In the solarium, a glass-wrapped space filled with sunlight and social gatherings, visitors and guides have been suddenly overcome by the smell of rose perfume. 2 different women, separate visits, both experienced the scent in the same corner before it faded as mysteriously as it arrived. Ghost hunters from Spirit Paranormal Investigations have filmed their own share of strange events. They recorded unseen knocks on doors, glowing anomalies on camera, disembodied voices, including a child saying, "Stop people, Mommy I love you," and a male voice commanding, "Get going." They even detected what they believe may be a dominant male spirit. Phantom Canyon Road, winding through the rugged mountains between Florence and Victor, follows the historic path of the old Florence and Cripple Creek Railroad. As part of the scenic Gold Belt Byway, it's beloved for wild views, but its isolation and echoes of a bygone era make it a magnet for ghost stories. One of the most often told ghost stories is about a man wearing a prison uniform from the 1890s. People say he still wanders near the old railroad tracks, moving quietly through the mist. Some believe he was a prisoner being transported who never made it back home. Many travelers claim they've seen his figure walking along the rails before fading away into the rocks. Further along, near abandoned mining camps like Wilbur and Adelaide, folks have claimed to see light flickers and ghostly figures out of the corner of their eye, shapes that look human but move unnaturally. The empty buildings seem to hold onto the energy of past workers, and sometimes night travelers feel watched when passing those silent ruins. The Black Monarch Hotel stands tall in Victor, a once thriving gold rush town now touched by time and shadows. Originally built in 1895 as the Monarch, a casino, saloon, and brothel, it was rebuilt after a devastating 1899 fire, rising again amid tragedy and mystery. Today's Gothic-styled boutique hotel doesn't shy away from its haunted reputation. Rather, it celebrates it. One of the most enduring tales involves the ghostly woman seen in the upstairs window, arms parting the curtains. Locals and passers-by have called the police, only to find nobody inside. The apparition remains a silent witness to the building's darker past. Guests staying in the Nikola Tesla room regularly report unexplained phenomena late at night, laughter, the clink of glasses, and piano music echoing below, as if a party is taking place. But when they check, no one is there. These incidents happen often enough that the hotel owner says similar reports come in about twice a month. In the Black Annie's room, themed after the fearsome forest witch, one visitor felt the suspended bed jerk and sway, as if unseen hands played with the ropes. It stopped, then moved again more forcefully.